All right, so you do have a sneaker line. Congratulations, by
Thank
the
you.
way.
Thank
I hope it grows as far as it can get. I really
Thank
do.
you. I appreciate that.
So tell me, how was that process of getting your sneaker line?
So, honestly, most of the things that I'm known for came through social media. Even, the contract that I was offered through football. So honestly, I was a brand ambassador for another shoe company at that time, and I was selling the heck out of those shoes.
Yeah.
And the designer, his name is Jamie Sills, he came to me one day and was like, have you ever thought about having like your own signature line? And I was like, why not? I mean,
Yeah.
I think most people, if you're a Jordan fan or, Iverson fan, everybody wanted their own shoe at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, why not? And so he said, okay, what would you want it to look like? And I said, I would want it to be like a combination of a Balenciaga and a Jordan.
Yeah.
And I want it to be loud. I want it to stand out. I want it to be like, nobody could ever, get it, twisted for a different type of shoe or whatever. And he kind of did a mock-up, showed it to me. He got it literally like perfect the first try. And so I remember putting that mock-up on Instagram and it went crazy. Like everybody was like, oh, I want it. Can I order it now? And I was like, this is an idea. It's not even like a real thing yet.
Yeah.
And so from there, my mom, who's my manager in the COO, she came and said, we should do a shoe company.
Yeah.
Like, I think you have the following, the loyalty. You have enough people that I feel like would want to actually, support what you do.
Right.
And of course, we did like our market research. We made sure that I had like sneakerheads following me, and surprisingly, I had a lot. And we did the behind the scenes work or whatever. But all in all, like we decided to move forward with it. At first, I wasn't sure. I mean, because I was like, okay, we got to go up against Nike, Adidas, Under Armour.
Yeah.
There's no women in this space right now. And my mom was like, you can do it. Like, I believe in you, blah, blah, blah. My mom thinks I can fly. So she always pours
Shout
into
out,
me.
Mom. Shout
Right.
out to Mom.
And so I prayed on it that night. And I just remember hearing God say, either, you can stay on the boat or jump.
Right.
And see what's on the other side. And it's like, I kept saying like, okay, if this fails, I can still say I tried to create a shoe company. It's still pretty dope. Like, I think that's still something to be proud of. Or it could go right, and then I could be solidifying generational wealth, pulling other, minorities up, and showing these children that it's possible.
Yeah.
And that sounded better. So I decided to go in that direction, and we here.
That's so dope. Believing in yourself is key, honestly. And shout out to your mom for real, because we do need a support system. Like, no matter what we do, we always need somebody there to help give us that green light and that confirmation that we need sometimes when we have our decisions. Because it's just like, well, we'll have a lingering thought. Or we'll be like, I'm thinking about doing this, but am I really capable of doing it?
Exactly.
Is it really possible? And then you had that one person coming in, they're like, look, I believe
positive.
in you.
Yeah.
I believe that you can do it. I believe that you have more than enough than you need to get whatever you want done. That's in your mind, whatever you feel in your heart, your soul.
Exactly.
You can do it. And honestly, that's the best thing to have.
It is. I always tell people that you have to have people on your team that believe in what you're doing more than yourself sometimes. And I have that. My mom is obviously like my biggest cheerleader, but everybody on my team, we all are headed towards the same goal. And some of them, like on days I'm like, I'm tired, I can't do this. They're the ones that push me and pull me up to keep going. So we all need that for sure.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So I know the news broke that you recently had an injury, right? So how is that playing on your mental health? Like, how is that affecting you, or is it affecting you in any way that you had an injury? Because I know, football is one of your passions and that's what you love to do. So how does that contribute to everything that's going on now?
Oh, man. I would say that I'm in a really good space now, but, just to be very transparent, I definitely went through probably the darkest phase in my life thus far. I went through like severe depression and things like that when it first happened, because I always tell people, like, when it comes to like being an athlete, when we are in a position to where we can't control when we're done or when we can't play that season or whatever, it's like, it's traumatizing.
Right.
And so for me, like I, I did the contract thing. I got the opportunity to, possibly play in the WFLA. Unfortunately, that league didn't make it.
Yeah.
So that was back in 2020, or 2019 really, and then 2020 came. Of course, no sports was happening at that time, and so we were supposed to play last year. Things happened to where we couldn't, and then I found out that it didn't. Whatever happened with it, I'm not gonna get into that.
Yeah.
So this was gonna be the year that I'm like, oh, finally, like I get to play, I get to show people like what I can do. People keep seeing all these articles, and it's time for me to prove myself.
Yeah.
And I had a great tryout.
Yeah.
Great tryout. Practice was amazing. I was like just predicted to be like one of the best,
Yeah.
And that injury happened, and it was out of my control.
Right.
It was an environment thing, I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And it was devastating. I've never had an injury that bad. I had hamstring issues. Like I did pull my hamstring when I was in high school. Had a few like ankle things or whatever, but nothing to where like this is like like messing up everything, including business.
Yeah.
And so I just remember like I feel like I was in shock for like a month.
Yeah.
Like I kept saying, okay, this isn't real. I'm gonna wake up. And then it was like I was losing sponsorships. I was losing opportunities. I was supposed to go and play in like the Super Bowl game or a celebrity game, and that got canceled. Then I couldn't play in a Pro Bowl game, and I was like, yo, this is really happening. Like, and so for me, it was just like, how is all this stuff happening? Like at one time, like I'm losing all this stuff, funds like that I normally get are no longer there. I had just got out of like a crazy relationship that that's a whole nother story. It was just a lot going on. And then I had COVID prior, so then I moved into my new place. I moved in New Year's pretty much, got COVID the next day, and then after COVID I went back to practice, and then 2 days later I was back down. So I was back stuck in my house. So like I was just like, dang, like all this is happening. And then like I wasn't in a relationship at that time, and so like I was like kind of by myself. Of course my mom was there, but it's different. Like you want you want that different type of like help and
comfort,
stuff like that. And so I just was like, okay, what am I supposed, like who am I? What am I outside of the football girl, the track baby, things like that. And I never had to think about that.
Right.
Like I always talked about like plan B, but it was really time for plan B, and I wasn't ready. And even though I had my shoe company, and I had all these amazing things happening. Yeah. I'm an athlete.
Right.
And it's like I wasn't ready to not be an athlete anymore. And so, long story short, I went into like a really, really, really dark depression. And I ended up coming out of it. And I started realizing like, I had to really give it to God. That's the best thing I can say. I had to really go to the altar for real and just be like, okay, God, if this is what it's supposed to be, like, just let me know what's next. Like, give me a sign. Like, let me know, like, it's going to be okay. Because right now I can't see no way out. Yeah. And after that, like, I just remember waking up and feeling like, okay, it was a calmness that I haven't felt since I got injured. And I was like, okay, so this might be the end, or it could just be like a break, you know what I'm saying? Like a break.
A new beginning.
Yeah, or it could be a path into something different. And I started to accept that. I started trying to reroute and recreate my brain around like, how to recover, how to push through, how to get through this, how to do that. Mental, mental health, that comes with everything. And I was literally documenting my journey.
For sure.
And it unfortunately, like I got to that point. Then I got to a point to where I felt like I could go back to practice. Went back to practice and completely tore it. Oh, so it's partially torn. Yeah. Then I completely tore it, but at that point, I had accepted like where I was, and I was kind of like, okay, if this is gonna happen, it is. If it's not, it's not. I still wanted to play, and I didn't go through this. It wasn't as bad the second time. Yeah. And I realized that okay, this isn't forever. Right. Like I have to make sure that I'm nurturing the other parts of who I am, because when I had to sit down for that, I guess it was 2 months, all the things that I thought I couldn't find it. Like I couldn't like hold on to that and let that comfort me, because I was just like, I know I can do this. I know I'm an author. I know I have a shoe company. I know I'm a speaker. But I couldn't see none of that because I was like, I kept saying, I'm this because of this. But in reality, I'm like, before I even started playing football, I was already doing all these other things. So, I'm not trying to ramble, but
no, you're
long
fine.
story short, like I got through the depression. Now, as of today, like I'm at a point where I don't know if I even want to go back to sports once this is healed, because I do have so much going on, that I didn't think was even inside of me at this point, or I would get to this point this fast.
Yeah.
And so like I'm enjoying my summers, like not having to go to practice. This is the first summer since I was 4 years old that I didn't have to be an athlete.
That's crazy.
This feels amazing. Like I'm like, I get to do this.
Exactly.
Like, so like I'm enjoying, like, I'm in a healthy relationship now. I have a really good friend group. And so I get to be Santia. Exactly. And not just track baby. And it feels good. I love it.
That's amazing. That's honestly amazing that you found yourself within all of that. Because honestly,
it took a minute.
Look, time is what heals.
Yeah.
But honestly, I feel like what's in yourself really determines your outcome. So you already believe, even though you had a space where you were just like, okay, I don't see what I am outside of an athlete right now.
Yeah.
But when you did realize, hey, I have so much more to me than just being an athlete. I can do this. I can do that. I have more than enough capabilities to become whatever else I want to be. I can be my truest self. I can express how I am without having anything else on my name but other than what I want it to be.
Yes.
And that's an amazing thing to have, honestly. You're really a strong individual, and I applaud you for that. I really do. Because
thank you.
Most people will let things like that just throw them off like forever.
Yeah.
Because they can't do the thing that they thought, oh, I was meant to be. They can't see anything else and they get lost in it.
Yes.
But you pulled out. Honestly, you pulled out, and that is an amazing thing. Your mind is a powerful thing, and
it is.
How you just trajected it and was just like, okay, look, black this out. Just because this may not be going my way, I can find an alternative. That's
exactly.
Cool. Eventually, I'm gonna find an alternative. Eventually, I can do something probably bigger than what I expected in the first place.
Exactly. And one thing that I had to remind myself and really question.
Yeah.
I was like, do you really trust God the way you say you do? Because if you do, then why are you in such a panic mode when we already knew, like, our plan isn't always our plan. That's not God's plan.
Yeah.
And you hear that and you say that and blah blah blah, but when I was in it, I couldn't see anything. Yeah. But like, why is this happening to me, God? Why?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, nah, like, this isn't even who I am. Like, I know that I trust God. So for me, it was almost like I had to make sure that I was being true to myself too in that time. I know I was going through it, but I'm like, okay, God always comes through. And right now I literally had to picture this when I was going through this, like, God is carrying you. Like, it might feel like you're alone, but he's carrying you right now. Let it go, give it to him. And that saved me for real.
That's amazing.
And my mom.
Yeah.
Was there too.
That is, man, when I say that, it's truly amazing. So if you were to give advice to any upcoming athlete, any other female athlete that's in high school presently or in college or trying to get to a standpoint where they want to become a professional athlete, what advice would you give them?
What I would tell them, and this is just the honest truth, this is the cold, blunt truth. Make sure that you are more than an athlete. We have a harder road. We have a longer road. We have a road that we are constantly having to figure out other paths so that we can get to the ultimate goal, which is to be this professional athlete that is comfortable and paid and respected. So have your plan B. Love that part of you just as much as you love being on that field and playing basketball, swimming, whatever it may be. And make sure you nurture that part of who you are, because at some point it's going to be over with. And you don't ever want to have to get to a point to where you're like, what was all of this for? What I'll do next? Who am I? Like, I had to question it at this point. And if you do decide to go that route, make sure that you're taking care of your body. Your mental health is on point, because being an athlete is also, man, the mental part that we got to go through on a daily basis to just get to the next step. Make sure that you're prepared for that too. And make sure that you have a good team around you. Make sure you have good coaches, good trainers, good PTs, all of that. And just trust God. Trust God in that path, and wherever it may lead you, whether it's long or whether it's short. Because whatever it is better than whatever you feel your plan is for yourself.
For sure. Look, y'all take that advice, because y'all heard it from a strong female, okay? A strong individual who can pull herself out of, look, where she thought the end was, it wasn't the end. It was the beginning. She pulled herself out of it. So if y'all can't listen to anything else, make sure you take heed to exactly what she just said, okay? Don't overlook it.
For sure.
All right. So when it comes down to social media, how is it shifting from athlete to more so entrepreneur and just showing who you truly are as an individual?
Oh man, that's a good question. So I'm still in the rebranding phase right now, but what I'm doing more of is I'm really focusing on teaching people how I got to where I am.
Yeah.
Because I've worked with, I don't even know what sports brand I haven't worked with yet. So like I have pretty much gotten down the formula of how to get sponsorships, how to get endorsement deals, how to build a brand that companies want to actually be a part of and sponsor and pay you real money. And I want to teach these kids too, kind of like what I just said, like how to create a brand online and get those speaking engagements, get those opportunities, get other opportunities outside of sports while you're still an athlete. So that when you're done, it's not like, oh, what do I do? What's next? It's like, oh, okay, this part is done. Now I get to go, do what I've been doing and do this full time. So I want to teach them how to build a brand outside of sports. And then also talking more about the mental health part of being an athlete and what happens when you do go through a transition of leaving sports or getting an injury that was unexpected or whatever may happen. So I'm more so in a teaching and giving space, more so than just like showing people what I'm doing.
Yeah, for sure.
And hopefully when I do that, it's inspiring. And I do everything that I do, honestly, to show these kids that like there's someone that looks like you, that's successful in this space, that is an athlete, was an athlete, whatever. And I have success outside of that.
Okay.
So...
All right, now, since you said you had plenty of time for the summer, hot girl summer.
Right.
What are some of the top things that you want to do since you do have more free time now? Like, are there any big things on your bucket list, something that you just want to knock out? Lay it on me. What you want to do?
Man, so I've been doing the main thing, which is traveling. Like, I've been traveling nonstop. I just came back from Costa Rica, which was an amazing trip for me.
Really?
I really needed it.
Was it hot over there?
Was it? But it was also rainy, so it was kind of like the worst combination possible. But we still enjoyed it. I get to like spend more time with my friends, my family.
Okay.
I am in a relationship, so like being able to focus more on that part of being a girlfriend and being able to go to his things and support him has been really cool. But honestly, I also want to just make sure I want to speak more. I've been having the opportunity to speak to a lot more kids and women and things like that. So continuing to nurture that side of me as well. And I'm also gonna be dropping my second book. Okay. I was gonna say that, but I'm on way. So I'm happy. I got time to do that too. So and there's some things I can't talk about. Y'all just gotta wait and see. But it's been amazing.
Can't leak it yet. But yes, I wish you nothing but the best. Congratulations on all of your endeavors. Like,
thank you.
You have a sneaker line out. You are transitioning yourself into what you want to be. You coming out with more books. Like, all of that is just beyond amazing, and it's beautiful in my opinion. And honestly, a lot of people can learn from Santia, because sometimes just because one person is in one occupation doesn't mean it can't be relative to you. Like certain aspects in life, you can still learn from everybody. So don't think, oh, because you did this for a living, you can't really tell me much about what I'm doing. Right. There are always similar experiences that people go through. So if someone is actually giving you good advice, take heed to it. Like, don't be stuck up in your ways. Don't think, oh, I know it all, or oh, that won't happen to me, because you never know. Like, just take advice sometimes. Learn from people. Watch other people in the ways that you can gain knowledge from them. And that's the best that you can do to become the best you, honestly. For sure. The best version of you.
For sure.
But yeah, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And you can shout out your Instagram for us.
Yeah, so y'all can find me on Instagram at trackbaby001. Facebook is Queen of Abs, and my website is queenofabs.com.
All right, we'll see y'all next time. Peace out.